Hi, Andrew. Welcome to the PowerTalk Show powered by Business Talks Weekly. Thank you so much for joining our channel today, join and our podcast. It is great to have you on our channel. Before we start with the conversation, can you tell us a bit about your professional background and what led to the creation of TechRescue?
Sure. That's a fantastic question. My background is in finance and economics. So my earlier days, I was a Wall Street trader, specializing in derivatives and equities, especially in the technology and the financial sectors. From there, I went into private equity and venture capital, and from there, I went into technology and SaaS-based platforms, which was extremely popular in the early mid 2000, the 2020s. Really, that's where really big SaaS platforms started really taking off. And from that, I really haven't left because what I've come to find in today's, well, from starting that point, the finance sector was getting very stagnant and also very congested. A lot of guys were going into that field. Technology, still to this day, from the early 2020s, is still an open, wide open space because that's really where we're going. That's the future of everything is going to be on a technology base. Financials, education, transportation, it's all going to be based in technology. Everything will be based
Absolutely.
in technology. When I made the transition, I didn't lose all of my abilities. I didn't lose everything, but I don't have to read lines and lines and lines and lines of graphs. I don't have to study so much, different pattern recognitions. I don't have to do a lot of the stuff I did when I was a trader, which I'm very relieved of. The stress is still pretty high, but the pace in which it comes is, those high and low massive spikes are not as
Yeah.
rapid fire as they used to be. Thank God.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
But to answer the other question is how Tech Rescue came to be is my father asked me how to forward an email. And I asked, that can't be like that. You got to be kidding me. You don't know how to forward an email. And that's really how it started. It's just serendipity saw a need and we just filled that need.
Wow, wonderful. That's a nice introduction, and that's a nice need as well, because you have identified from an email forwarding to a successful 24-hour tech support call center. Can you explain to us what kind of services do you provide and which industry do you cater to?
So our main focus is in the senior space, 65 and older, assisted living facilities, retirees, and those who still stay at home. That's really our bread and butter right now. So we handle the senior space, senior living, assisted living facilities, retirement communities, and we also handle small businesses. In this sector, small businesses include, the visiting Sisters of St. Mary, Meals on Wheels, Hopeful Light out in the Midwest. These are programs that are one government subsidies and also private institutions that provide third-party services to seniors. So in our country, we have registered, unregistered, about 100 million Americans, illegal or non-citizen, in this country. About 15% of that entire population does not have access to any help whatsoever. That's Meals on Wheels, that's getting to a doctor's office, that's getting their prescriptions. With technology, we're able, because we're also HIPAA compliant, we're able to have a customer call. We work with them via connection on the computer with third-party bank encryption code. So once that connection is broken, we can't get back onto the computer. We can help you set up an account on your insurance, help you find a doctor, schedule a doctor's visit, set you up with an Uber account or Lyft or rideshare, get it scheduled to pick you up, bring you to your doctor, have them schedule you to come pick you up and bring you home, have your prescriptions found, ordered, and then delivered. Amazon, Grubhub, DoorDash, they're in the business now of delivering prescriptions.
Yes.
So you can get your prescriptions delivered right to your door. And with that technology, that same aspect, there's no reason why we can't help you set up a Thumbtack or TaskRabbit or Hopper where somebody can come clean your gutters, can clean your house, can do your lawn maintenance. See, technology is the tool that can make everybody's lives better. For example, a chainsaw. A
Uh-huh.
chainsaw is a very powerful tool. It
Yeah.
can cut through forests, it can chop ice, it can clean up debris. but it's only as good as the person using the tool. So with
Makes sense.
technology, it's the same thing. This is Pandora's box, right? It's here. We opened it. It's not going to stop changing. It's how we use it. That's the difference.
Absolutely. That's interesting. So, Andrew, can you tell me, like, over these years, technology has evolved, and even, tech support call center industry has also evolved. Everything now has also become automated when it comes to chatbot and responses. What is your take, and how is industry evolving to these kind of new advancements?
So here in the West, we have utilized artificial intelligence a little too much. We've become heavily reliant on it. The reality of it is artificial intelligence will be the tools that optimize all of our businesses. We see it every day. A chatbot does not need sleep. It doesn't need rest. It doesn't need insurance. It doesn't need to be turned off. Yes, AI is going to make work a little bit easier, a little bit faster, a little bit more streamlined. But anybody who's using ChatGDP or Deep Search or Contra or any of the other ones that are popping up, the artificial intelligence is a 2 by 2 matrix. It lives in this box, right? These are the parameters in which all AI has to follow, right? It needs a structure in order for it to expand. That's the matrix, the 2 by 2 matrix in which it lives in. That data is not hard to build. Building the box in which it contains is not hard to do. The problem that we have is that AI reads everything on the internet, everything. So think of it this way. How many people are on the internet saying that the earth is flat? How many people on the internet is saying that, the moon is made of cheese? How many people are on the internet saying that Atlantis is in Atlanta, Georgia, or, the Titanic never really sank?
Yeah,
The problem is that we have contaminated data
yeah,
in this 2 by 2 matrix. So when kids go ahead and they're copying and pasting their homework and they're doing chat GDP, every once in a while, if you read through an entire report, you're going to see stuff that doesn't make sense because it's pulling from the entire internet. So to answer your question, yes, AI is here to stay. Yes, AI can make your business better. AI can make it a little bit more efficient. But artificial intelligence will never take away the humanity, the empathy, the capacity to critical think, the capacity to microtask, the capacity to think outside of realms of possibility because it's not a human. It doesn't have creative thinking. See, the
absolutely.
problem is AI has to be programmed. Humans don't get programmed. We're creative. That's how we're able to create music from Mozart and Beethoven and Metallica and ZZ Top. And we're able to create beautiful works of art. AI will never create its own work, right? It can take all the work from the masters, all the work from the great new guys, all the work from conceptual concepts. It'll never put that two together and make its own thing. Why? Because it still lives within a box matrix and it still needs information put in to get out. Humans, you whistle a song down the street, that could be the next great pop song. We're creative. That's just what we are. We will never, ever, ever be replaced. This idea that we can be replaced is impossible.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. And are you anyway using AI in your current way of approach? And what is your vision for the next 3 to 5 years when it comes to tech rescue and AI?
So yes, we use AI on the back end of us. Customers will never experience AI. So we don't use chatbots, we don't use robocalls, we don't do any of that. You get real human. You call our number 855-250-8586, you get a real person on the phone. Where we use AI is where we are able to scan the hundreds of pages of call sheets, look for signals that we're not understanding. So if we're getting calls within a certain section of the market, right? Let's say the Midwest section. Well, that's interesting. Why is the Midwest calling us more today? We won't be able to go through call sheets like that without the help of AI. We're not going
Yeah,
to be able to
yeah,
go through 300 sheets of Excel within 5-20 minutes and pull that kind of data. We can't. AI can. And when we do projection analysis, so right now, for example, because of the tariffs in place, because of the policies being put in place, because of everything around the world going on simultaneously, that's hard to factor in for, black swan events, probability analysis. That's hard to calculate just by a human alone. But with AI, we're able to take all these things that are going on in the world, put them into Word documents, set contingency plans to it, and then run it through an AI system and say, what is the probability of A, B, and C happening? And what are the probabilities of plan A, Avenue B happening, plan B, Avenue C happening, plan C, Avenue D happening? What are these probabilities in order? What is most likely to happen? So AI can be used that way very effectively, because then as a leader, I can make more informed decisions because I have black and white in front of me. Now, mind you, the AI is only a small snippet of that decision-making process, but it allows me to see a little bit better 3 months ahead, 6 months ahead, depending on what I can find as a tool to use as a benchmark. That's the secret, is where are you finding information to add to the system? That's the key.
Absolutely. Very interesting. Andrew, I would like to shift the focus a bit away from tech to operations. You are into an industry which is heavily outsourced, in terms of resources. It is usually outsourced to a different country or to a different region. How does the current industry work? What are the ups and downs, and what has changed post-COVID era?
Well, it's not just our industry, it's the world. So a couple of things have happened. And we can get into the Starbucks topic in a second, because that's a good subject lead in. So what COVID showed the world is that, one, we can do a lot of the things that we do at home. But number two, collaboration happens best when we're all together. And number three, what we think of normal work is now somewhat questionable, which led Starbucks to go ahead and bring their people back to a 4-day weekend instead of a 3-day weekend. And the new CEO has mandated it that you have to now locate to central Washington, to Seattle. You have to go to corporate. If you're going to work at Starbucks, you have to relocate towards corporate headquarters. So what does that mean for the rest of the world? Well, you have a major Fortune 100 blue chip stock saying, no, we're going back to 4 weeks and you have to be here. So maybe that there's evidence that shows that creativity does not happen best when we're alone. It happens best when we're together. So new ideas, new concepts, new projects. The creative aspect, we needs to be together. Where I think we can start finding balance is creative communities need to be together more often. Operational things can happen a little bit more spread out, right? So logistics doesn't maybe need to be in the office, but maybe the creative department does.
Yeah.
Maybe the sales team does. Management can be in-house or away. But where we see the overall industry as a whole is a lot of businesses can be outsourced because the world is going far global than it has ever been, right? We can get talent from around the world that is as good, if not better. And really, what is better? What's good?
Yeah.
Because if you're looking for profit and sales, the market will determine what's good. So I think what companies are starting to realize is the value that we put on our pricing in terms of, let's say, a service at $5,000 a month. You're going to have to sell the quality of $5,000 a month, not just the convenience and not just the ability, but the quality. Because if price point is what you're looking at, we can go into the Philippines. We can outsource us to other third world countries. But the American consumer doesn't want that. We found that out time and time again. The American consumer does not want that. What we found is the American consumer is willing to pay more to have a quality that they are willing to have. So that's what we found out. So for some aspects, like in our business, Price point really wasn't the factor. It was the quality of work and the quality of the call that mattered to the American consumer, regardless of age. Because when we first started 2 years ago, we had a wide gamut of calls in terms of our end user and our subscriber. But one of the common things that we had was, you're American, right? You're in America, right? You know, these are American English speaking. So we got that message very quickly. So that's where we focused on, is getting that quality to the American consumer that they were looking for, because the market dictates. So to answer your question, yes, a lot of ability can be outsourced. A lot of it for price point and percentages can be outsourced, but the market will dictate what it's willing to have. And America, they were willing to pay a little bit more to have that quality.
Absolutely. Interesting point of view. You transitioned from finance to technology. What has been your major difference working with both industry verticals?
It's mostly data and what you do with the data. So I'm going to simplify Wall Street to anybody that is curious. Wall Street is the immediate or long term reaction to a question that you asked, yes or no. Should I buy this? Yes or no. Should I sell this? Yes or no. So a buy is a buy, hold and buy. A sell could be a sell or a short, right? You're betting that the stock will go down. At the end of the day, it's a yes or no question. It's a click of a mouse. Buy or sell, yes or no. Do I think that this product, this company, this service has more intrinsic value in the future, or this is the best it will ever be, the best it'll ever be, and from here on in, the product and service or the company is going to lose value because the company or service or product is not worth the price in which it is selling itself for. It's not worth what they're claiming it to be, and the consumer is not going to buy it. It's a yes or no question. So you buy, sell, you sell it or short it, right? I think it's going to go down, or I
Yeah.
buy it. I think it's going to go up. It's worth more. It's all data and the data that you're looking at. So with technology, it's nothing but data and what we're doing with that data. So the transition wasn't all that hard, because I'm taking the same amount of data, I'm taking the same type of data, and now I'm applying it in a different direction. So what kind of consumer is calling us? Why are they calling us? What can we learn from it? So these past now 5 months, a lot of calls have been coming in about video games. Because Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out soon,
Okay.
a lot of consumers are buying them for their grandchildren, their children.
Wow.
Well, think of it this way. What we've come to find out in this industry is grandparents 65 and older, just a plain basis on an
Yeah.
umbrella, right? Just a broad spectrum of standard deviation, are not picking up their kids from school. They're not going to the park. They're not playing baseball. They're not going out and having an adventure. They're not doing what we as an older generation used to do with our grandparents.
Yeah.
So what are they doing? The kids are coming home from school, and grandma and grandpa are logging onto Xbox, PlayStation, or the computer and playing video games with their grandkids.
Oh my God. That's very interesting.
Last year at Christmas, 20% of the GDP went to seniors. They're mobile, they're active, and they have dispensable income. The average American consumer, and this is where data comes in, the average American consumer last year spent over $998 just on technology alone that year. That included cell phones, watches, video
Mhm.
games, subscriptions. This year alone, if the whole world doesn't go to hell in a handbasket, average consumer is about to spend somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,100 to $1,300 this Christmas season alone just on technology.
Technology. Wow.
So, with that data, what would you do as a company if the average consumer is going to spend on average this holiday season $1,300? With that data in mind, we're in the middle of July. What product, what service can I get ready for the holiday season? I've got
Yeah.
5 months, 4 months to get
Prepare.
this prepared, tested, packaged, and delivered. That's data.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Data is the king. Andrew, one final question to you. What is the one piece of business advice that you got that changed your perspective at how you look at things professionally as well as personally?
So that's going to be a twofold kind of answer, right? So for all of the entrepreneurs out there, the best piece of advice I got was from grad school. And my professor said to me, because I was putting together a project and I was writing the report for it. And he said, you could be right or you could be profitable, but very rarely can you be both. We as entrepreneurs and founders have it in our head that your business is nothing more than a hypothesis. Think of it this way. If you're starting a business, you're writing a doctoral thesis, right? Because what is a doctoral thesis? A doctoral thesis is you coming up with an idea or a concept. I believe X, Y, and Z, the results of which will be profitability. People will pay for what I think. That's your hypothesis.
Yeah.
You go into the market and you test your hypothesis. And one of two things happen. Either you're right or you're wrong. Now you have to go back and adjust it because what you thought is not what reality gave you. Now, this is the hard part. A lot of CEOs and a lot of entrepreneurs will stop themselves in mid growth and determine that they are right. No, I know I'm right. I know I'm right. I know I'm right. And clearly it's not working.
Yeah.
We had this problem. I said we were right. We didn't have any results. I knew we were right. We still had no results. All right. I thought back to my teacher. I could be right or I could be profitable. Which one do you want to be? There's a lot of companies that don't exist who thought that they were right
Yeah.
and didn't listen to the market. A lot of companies want to believe that they're Apple, right? No matter what, I can plow through and I'm going to create a new world. Yeah, you can if you've got that kind of backing. Mind you, at the time when Apple was producing the Mac, the Mac, when, Steve Jobs left and
Yeah.
started, his little splinter cell with the pirate flag, right? He was already a multi-millionaire with a multi-millionaire company. He had a CEO in place. He had a board of directors in place. So if you're not that kind of company, you can be right or you can be profitable. The market will always dictate to you what it wants. Now, whether or not you listen is another matter. We never got into this business to help. I know it's funny to say, but we never got into the business to help grandma get better at Call of Duty. Guess what? Here we are. The market dictates what it wants. You just have to be adaptable.
That's an interesting advice and a wonderful piece of guidance to the upcoming entrepreneurs and even to the existing ones, to see how the market is reacting to your product or services and then change.
I mean, the guy who told it to me helped invent derivative default swaps from Morgan Stanley. So I think the guy knows what he's talking about.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, really and truly, that's one of the biggest issues in business when you're starting off is that you can't see the forest through the trees. Believe me, I have this problem all the time. I get an idea, I chase it down, and I don't see the things around me because I'm hyper focused. I'm a hyper focused guy. When I can spend 3 days straight staying up, chasing an idea, sleeping, maybe sleeping an hour or two, and then just waking up and just going after it again. When you're like that, you need to take time and maybe go. So there's a wonderful program called Fiverr, right? You can find a lot of different people that do different things, like a consultant or an advisor or an analyst. There's nothing wrong with taking a break, hiring an analyst to look over your entire company and say, you got major problems. You're never going to see them because a captain of the ship will never know that the bottom of the boat is leaking. Why would you? You're on the bridge. That's why you have people working in the ship to tell you what's wrong. My last piece of advice to to your audience who are entrepreneurs, who are starting businesses is this. Be very, very determined and be very, very certain this is what you want to do. The reason why I say that is because as an entrepreneur, surviving business, because you're not doing it, you're surviving because it's a battlefield out there. You need to believe in what you're doing. You need to believe in it more than you believe in your religion. And the reason why I say that is if you're going to do it, you are going to do this alone. I've got people with me. I've got friends. No, you have associates because you're going to be the one that they look to because you believe in it. When things get hard, they're going to be looking at you to see how determined are you in the storm. Because If you're looking to your friends or your people that you're bringing with you to find that strength, I'm going to be honest with you, you're going to get into a world of trouble because they're looking to you for strength because it's your idea, it's your vision. And if you're not 100% in, you're going to have people jump ship very quickly. So you better believe in this more than you believe in air because it will be tested. I am telling you, it will be tested. And if you're not prepared for the test, you will fail. You better believe in this more than you believe in air because it will come. There will be the moments where you're tested, when you're broke and the bills are stacking up. So I pay more for my company than my mom and dad pay for their entire existence per month. When my mom when my mom's the CFO of the company, when the bills started coming up, she looked at me and she goes, "Your father and I don't even pay all of this." I went, "Yeah." And that's before I even take, because my people get paid
Yeah.
first. The company, the people, and then me. There were, I have a, this is just to let everybody know, when we finally started making it, I had $175,000 in debt just on credit cards for the company, for my life, for everybody else paying their salaries.
Yeah.
$175,000 in credit card debt, or a dollar even went to me.
Andrew, I absolutely love your passion. And thank you so much for sharing your advice, sharing your time with us today. It's been a delightful
It's been
conversation.
a pleasure. I think what we need to start doing, I know there's a lot of stuff on YouTube with these, people with their businesses, and you can do this and move to, and nothing against Dubai. We're looking into Dubai because of its tax advantages and its ability to help us with business. But there's these things online. Come to Dubai and your business. I'm going to just put a pause on that. Fellas, ladies, young entrepreneurs, if it seems too easy or it seems too good, I'm telling you, it's not what you think it is.
Uh,
This entrepreneurship, business, real business. It's not as easy as starting an online thing and people are going to show up. Very rarely,
Absolutely.
very, very, very rarely do you just turn the light switch on and the cash register starts going. Believe me, this is not what you think it is. This is not fun. This is not fun. This is because you have an obsession and a passion and you need to answer the question. That's really what this is. Entrepreneurship is exactly that. Is the obsessive need to answer this one question. Am I right? That's it. That's all it is am I right? And the result is money. I made a question. Does the market want this? I think it does. There you go.
Absolutely.
That's all it is. Simple as that. And it's complicated.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Andrew, once again. Thank you so much for the wonderful conversation. It was
Of
a pleasure
course.
to have you here today.
It was a pleasure. Please invite us back anytime you like.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.